Author of Hidden History, Crimes and Cover-Ups in American Politics, 1776 to 1963, and Survival of the Richest, Donald Jeffries separates the real from the unreal. Fact from fiction. Fact from fiction. Reverse engineering our manufactured reality. And now, from just outside the swamp-infested Washington, D.C., this is I Protest with Donald Jeffries.
Welcome to I Protest. This is Donald Jeffries here with you, coming to you as we do every Friday at this time from just outside the swamp-infested Washington, D.C., as the man says. We have a special theme show, as you can see from my, half-ass costume that I have on. And for my guest, who is this is the anonymous, I'm not sure who it is. No, this is Tom Siebert, who has been on before. He's very popular. You guys liked him. He writes A Wrinkle in Tom, which is a really cool Substack that got my attention a while back. And he's one of the few people I know that talks about movies as much as I do, but is very eclectic about it and is not kind of a mainstream reviewer. So we can have some interesting discussion. So we'll talk about some horror movies on Halloween. We'll talk Halloween candy. So I hope you guys in the chat participate. So I'd like to see, and later, if we get enough people, I'll open up the link. And if you guys want to come on in and do a video or audio on-screen appearance, ask questions, or make your own points, that'd be cool too. Tom Siebert, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much, Don. I appreciate it.
That's great. Well, it's disconcerting. That mask of yours is a little scary. But
okay. I'll get rid of the mask because it's hot. I think it would look how red I am already. My God, if I had done the whole show with that, I'd be asphyxiated at the half-hour point. God.
Yeah,
all right.
We don't want that. But no. So I mean, I'm not, and I wrote, I have another Substack that I published that's accidentally came about when I put a pay option, and there's no way to delete it. So I use it as to put old stuff up. So for Halloween, I wrote something called Dancing with the Jack-o'-lanterns about 3 years ago that I thought was pretty good. So it's a defense of Halloween. So I put it up the other day so people can read that. And I just, I'm writing again about evangelical Christians, which lately I've been writing a lot about because Zionism and everything. They're kind of becoming an irritant to me. But those are the people that really started protesting Halloween. I don't think there's anything satanic about it. It doesn't have to be anything satanic about Halloween. And to me, it was a lot of fun, and it can still be a lot of fun. So that's the spirit we're enjoying it in. Certainly not to be worshiping Satan or anything. People know my writing's not doing that. But horror movies are great fun, but they can be great innocent fun. So I assume you feel the same way. Were you back in our day, trick-or-treating was a big deal. Did you go out many times? You mapped out the area. You tried to talk about your trick-or-treating days.
Boy. I remember them. I did them for quite some time. I don't know that I remember them all that clearly. I don't even know that I could come up with one of my costumes. It's been so long. 50 years back would have maybe been the last time I went. I don't know. I mean, I think that my most, memorable Halloween experience actually came, I guess I can talk about this now since it's past the statute of limitations, was when I was writing for the Diamondback as a film critic. Me and one of the campus photographers broke into this illustrious cemetery in Washington, D.C. and took a picture of me just from behind, in front of this cross with just my arms coming out, like I was coming out from the grave. You couldn't see what I was doing on, and that was a very weird experience. It just was spooky to be there. So that's the Halloween I probably most remember. And then there probably were a lot of other ones where I got drunk or was on drugs in my 20s. I don't know. Sorry.
To younger, people, especially now. My kids still got to trick or treat. And but we didn't let them go by themselves. I always went around with them, and I really enjoyed it. When I was a kid, I always went by myself, and with other kids. And I guess there were no pedophiles then or something, because they sent their kids out in the dark and walked into strange.
Yes,
somehow. But I mean, it makes you think really what was going on then. Because certainly if those people had been around, they would have had a field day.
Well, maybe I can't remember Maybe I can't remember because they were traumatic experiences.
Maybe that's it. That's probably
God.
happened. Maybe you had some really bizarre Halloween experiences.
Oh,
You blocked it all out. Well,
maybe. I don't know. I'm really trying to think about them right now. I don't know. I think I was Captain Action once when I was very, very young.
yeah, I think I was Dracula or Frankenstein. I don't even know I don't know what I was either. Probably some momentary thing. But our kids were usually non-monster thing. My son was usually superhero stuff, and I know he was a Power Ranger one year. My daughter was usually Cinderella or some kind of princess.
Oh
something
yes,
like that.
yes. I could.
Yeah.
Yes, I could name my kids' costumes now that you mentioned it. Yes, but my
Yeah.
own. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, it's much. Yeah, it is. All
right, that's a relief. Okay, good.
Well, that's good because but I feel bad for the kids today because it looks like trick or treating has been all but eliminated. It looks like now it's trunk or treat is all the rage, which seems.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's safer, certainly safer, but I don't know, some of the magic is there because the thing is, you got a lot of more exercise. You're running around and you're saying, well, don't waste your time. Let's go to the townhouses. Those are gold mines because you can cover a lot more houses, and if you can get in an apartment building, you get a lot more candy in a short period of time. But I was listening today to a sports talk radio show as I'm driving around, and they're doing something about the top candies or something. I would want to talk to the radio because literally they had like the top 32 candy bars or something, and Reese's peanut butter cups weren't there. To me, that's the number one seed.
What?
Can you
well, somebody paid for placement or something. I don't know. I don't buy it.
So what?
Top 30? Top 30?
32. Yeah, it was supposed to be like a spoon for the NCAA tournament or something out of it. So I said, how do you possibly have like paydays and things like that? But they didn't have that really.
Payday's the caramel nut thing. Is that the payday?
Yeah. Which is wrong with it? But I mean, to me, Reese's was still my favorite. It was my favorite back then. What was your favorite candy bar?
Reese's is definitely up there. I like the Kit Kat a lot. I would say those were the two big for me, Reese's and Kit Kats. And recently, before Halloween, they came out with a French toast Kit Kat that, like, thank God they don't make those year round because I was an unbelievably tasty treat.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, I'm looking at this is like a special Halloween chat room or something. I don't see a lot of the usual names, but I see White Wolf there, who's a very experienced trick or treater. So we're going to put some comments up here, and if you have any favorite candies or whatever, now you can throw that up there. And we're going to, of course, obviously talk about horror movies. But what gets me is that I don't think, and I again getting.
Well, let me just ask you: is this also on YouTube? Because I told people to go to YouTube for this. Should I?
Yeah.
It's live streaming instead. It is okay.
Yeah. It's live streaming on YouTube now. Yeah, I shouldn't have to take this down. I think we'll be okay with it. So I'd probably leave it up, but I put most of these on Rumble if I take them down because we can't mention certain things, otherwise YouTube suspends my channel. Let's see, I'm hearing, I'm just looking at what's here. And of course, the StreamYard is still messing up for me. The numbers are all over the place. They did it last week too. Let's see. If you're watching on Rumble, let's see you over there. Come on, I see some people in the Rumble chat. Come on, guys. I don't know why. If you're watching there, jump in, or Twitter or anything. We'd like to have some participation here. So, exactly. So, when and I don't know what happens now, but it's really then to me it was a lot of fun. After you have the trick, and as a young adult, you have Halloween parties and costume parties, and I this pumpkin thing I have on. I remember wearing something like this. We all dressed as pumpkins at some holiday back in the 1980s. I remember it was a big party we went to, and I asked my wife, "Is the same thing?" I said, "I didn't last that long." But obviously, pumpkins were nice, non-satanic theme. Nothing wrong with pumpkins, right? Nice and orange.
Right, that's correct.
So, but to my thinking, and again, I think it was, you may have caught that as well, but when I was a kid, monsters were still really in vogue. If you remember famous monsters of Filmland with Forrest Ackerman, that magazine that was there, Forrest J. Ackerman, and you had the Aurora horror models. Did you ever build the Aurora?
Oh, yes. Like the classic Universal monsters. Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman. Yes.
They were huge.
They were brands unto themselves. I mean, that was a film franchise that went on for decades. And like one of the biggest films of gosh, I wish I'd taken a note to remember the year. Late 40s, early 50s was Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Yeah. Oh, one of the greats. That would be that's right up at the top of my list. I think,
It's an excellent film. It's both scary and funny.
It's definitely Abbott and Costello's best work, and it's the only other time that Bela Lugosi played played a character that he called himself Dracula.
That's
Other
right.
than the original Dracula, he played a vampire many times, but in that one he was actually Count Dracula. Very, very good movie, and still holds up really well, I think. And it's always good to watch at Halloween time. But my favorite horror movie of all time is, I don't know if people consider it a horror movie. It's kind of science fiction too. Is the original King Kong, 1933. That scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. I've watched it so many times. I just think it's a remarkable film. And still, when you first see him, that close up of this little automaton figure that they made in 1933, it still scares me. It's like, oh, what do you? I mean, they've never been able to equal it. I mean, Peter Jackson's remake that 15 years ago was nothing compared to that. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
The original King Kong is a seminal film, and there is something about it that comes with the black and white cinematography and the stop motion action that literally adds like this movie magic across like time thing. Like, even though it's dated, it's still mystical in its way. I haven't seen the original King Kong in many years. I watched them all with my son a couple years ago. I dare say that the Peter Jackson film, the director's cut especially, is my favorite of the three of them. I really think it is a tremendous piece of work. Even though I have to admit, like, you could stick the whole first King Kong, original 1933 or 32 or 30, whatever, King Kong, before you even see King Kong in Peter Jackson's. But that's just what makes the whole epicness of it. I mean, I think the Peter Jackson film is great. Not even like the 1970s one with Jeff Bridges and
the Screamer, the black. I can't think of her name now. Somebody come up on the Screamer.
She's actually she became a very, very good actress. It'll come to us. She won an Oscar.
That was kind of a Lang, is it? No,
Jessica Lange. Yes.
Yes.
With Sam Shepard. They did some actual phenomenal films. Not to knock her. That's not a great performance in that King Kong movie, but she did become a great actress.
Well, that was the one where they really and it paved the way for Peter Jackson's King Kong, where they transformed kind of the leftist sensibilities of the 70s, where they made King Kong into a very sympathetic figure. And the whole thing was that the man was exploiting him, and it was kind of an environmentalist thing where, we're taking him out, which they were.
They exploit him. I mean, the whole, from the very first one, he's exploited. Like, whether he's really a beast or more human-like, he gets exploited.
Yeah, it's Ron Helton says he tends to mix up scenes from the original King Kong with those of Mighty Joe Young. Well, the same people, Willis O'Brien was the special effects. I think that was one of the last films he did. Mighty Joe Young's another good one. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, it has a lot of similarities to it, but they did a good job on Mighty. They didn't make him big enough, I don't think.
I have not seen that film since I was like 12 or less, I bet.
I tend to watch these things far too many times. Although I looked and I said, the ones that are on now, God, I've seen them. Although I want to watch we'll talk about The Seventh Victim as one of my favorites, but I've seen these things so many times. I don't know how many times I can watch them. The original Dracula, the original Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. You mentioned The Mummy earlier. The original
Mummy is my favorite of the early Universal monster films.
Well, it's not that. What's interesting about that is that most of it is not. We don't see the mummy figure for a long time. It's very, very interesting. It's a very. But yeah, you're right. It's well done. And why do you like it so much?
One of the things that I like about that film so much is that I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. There's something very wrong with that film. There's just like some movies that I've seen where there's just like a wrongness at the core, and they're not always horror films. I think that movie Ryan's Daughter with David Lean, which was like the last movie he made for almost 2 decades, and the star of it quit afterwards. This guy that they were grooming for movie stardom. That's another movie. Like you watch it, there's just something wrong with it. Something wrong happened on that movie, and I think the same thing happened with The Mummy. There's something about that movie that's just like got a wrongness to it. There's a darkness, and I can't put my finger on it, but like when it's over, you just feel, ugh. And the guy who directed it. That guy, I'd like to know more about him. Carl Freund. He only directed like 8 movies. He was better known as a cinematographer. And he was a cinematographer for some like really influential films like Metropolis. He was the cinematographer for Dracula.
Yes, he was. And most of the people that starred in that believe that he was more of a director on Dracula than, because Todd Browning kind of sleptwalked through it for whatever.
Yes.
I don't know why.
But I think Browning was a heroin junkie for some of his life, at least, right?
I don't know. He was a weird guy. I don't know about heroin. Maybe he was a strange guy.
Okay. I might be confusing him with one of the other like silent to talky early horror-ish directors. I could be wrong. Don't let me smear Todd Browning if he wasn't a junkie. I might be wrong.
Oh, well, he was, and I read a biography for him called Dark Carnival, because he also directed a lot of Lon Chaney, and Lon Chaney has become maybe my favorite actor all time, Lon Chaney Sr. I just think he was incredible what he could do with his face and everything. But Todd Browning directed a lot of his movies. He was in this dark world, and he walked the walk. I mean, one of his jobs, and he wanted to do it, was in a sideshow where he was buried alive in a coffin, and he had like a thing for air, and like he had malt balls or something that he ate and he would stay there for a couple of days, and it's something he wanted to do. So how bizarre could you have been? Because how much could he have been paid? It's not like he was paid millions of dollars probably for it. It's probably low paying. So it comes through in his work. Very strange guy, but they're certainly the best. And Lon Chaney, I would put up some of his, not just Phantom of the Opera or Hunchback of Notre Dame, which are more famous, but a movie like The Unknown, if you've ever seen that, where he
I believe I've had
a young Joan Crawford. Watch it sometime. It's incredible because he's called Alonzo the Amazing or something like that. But he's plays the part of an armless man in a sideshow. Again, sideshows were.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yes, I have. Yes, I've heard of it.
So he loves Joan Crawford. Very just a really incredible script. He loves Joan Crawford, who I guess they don't say it, but obviously had been raped at some point, and so she couldn't stand a man putting his hands on her. So she thinks he doesn't have any arms, so she likes him. So he decides to go and get surgery and have his arms, amputated. So when he does that, of course, he brings him up there, and she's like she's now with the circus strongman, and the look on his face as he realizes he's had his arms amputated. It's only Lon Chaney could do that. So you watch his movies, man. His son was a good actor too. Lon Chaney Jr. was underrated, but
he just gave away the massive twist in that film, and it's horrific. So I don't know that I'll be watching that movie anytime soon.
And it's a different.
I'm sure it is. Like maybe in 3 years when I forget the big twist. What was it about that movie? I don't know. I'll have to watch. I'll be like, no, Lon, don't do it.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. Chris Graves is so good to see you, Chris. He's Chud. What's CHUD? I don't think I've ever seen that. Have you seen that?
Cannibalistic human underground dwellers. And I saw it either like while I was in college or at my college a couple of years afterwards when I was still living in the area. I saw it at a midnight movie, and I don't remember much, but I was probably on drugs.
I don't think I've never seen. He also said Evil Dead by Sam Raimi, who I've also heard of.
Sam Raimi, yeah. I think Evil Dead 2 is like the better version of Evil Dead 1, but they're both, entertainments. They're both a little bit much for me. I like the third one, which I think should have been called Medieval Dead, but it was actually called Army of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
But that maybe just shows that I'm a white bread moviegoer, because that certainly the third one is much more commercial and a lot less like levels of violence than the first two. So my apologies.
Samuel K. Fisher is over in Rumble all by himself. Come on, guys. Let's see some chat over there. He says Zagnut. He likes Zagnut. Okay, that's interesting. We're talking about
Isn't that coconut? I'm not a big fan of coconut in my candy bars.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. You know, and that was.
That's true. I've heard that. Yes.
But so we've
Can we
lots of these.
return just for like I just like Carl Freund, the cinematographer, director.
Yeah.
Can I agree what? Like I just want to like because the guy was so talented. Like even decades later, he's making these horror movies in the 30s, in the 50s. Like he's walking out. He's the cinematographer on Key Largo, which is like a great, shot film, thriller. And the later Thin Man movies, but by then we're like top flight, big Hollywood productions. They weren't churning out the Thin Man movies like 2 or 3 a year or even 1 a year. Like they came out like one every 3 or 4 years. You had the best director, boom, boom, boom on it. So, Freund, I don't know. And his career as a director ended when he made Mad Love with Peter Lorre. Which is also like a crazy, crazy movie that did not do well, and everybody thinks was great.
Peter Lorre is another great. Yeah, another great. Yeah, that's the one where the guy doesn't have his hands or something, or he loses. He cuts off something for again, same kind of thing. A love for a woman.
Yes.
And these guys are
he
all
gets the hands of the killer. He gets the hands of the killer.
Yeah. These guys are always amputating stuff or something. Bela Lugosi, and later when he played a series of mad scientists, Boris Karloff too, they both played a lot of mad scientists. But in Bela's case, the plot was almost always that he had to kill a bunch of women because his wife needed blood or something. And they ran to that plot. Yes. They had her, but so you felt for him because he wasn't really that evil. He just had to do it because he had to keep his wife alive. So it's a very straight. There were a lot of those great movies. They really good.
Very simple. I had mentioned beforehand that I just saw that movie, The Black Cat, which has Lugosi and Karloff.
Yeah.
And that's actually a different tangent on the plot you just said. This one is about Lugosi's coming back to get revenge because Karloff has already murdered his wife and drained her blood in a satanic ritual years and years earlier.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to stop him on his new, before he sacrifices his new woman. Yeah. That's a freaky movie, man. Oh, it's a freaky movie.
And they have a black mass. They have and the Art Deco mansion they have is just really, and Karloff has kind of a funk, almost new wave hair. This is really,
there's necrophilia going on. There's like serious drug addictions. There's torture rooms and basements, human sacrifice, like you said. I mean, it was just like, oh my God, I couldn't believe. Oh, and one guy gets like skinned alive at the end, right? Yeah. That's like they finally one corner, they skin him alive. It's just like pre-code. Them's was the days pre-code.
Yeah, and NMQ8HM says that liked all the classic Edgar Allan Poe stories made in movies starring Vincent Price. They were, but in case of the Black Cat, had nothing to do with Edgar Allan Poe's story. It was just completely original.
The name. Yeah,
nothing. And then they also made I think a lesser movie, The Raven, follow up with that, with Karloff and Lugosi, and again, it really had nothing to do with The Raven, but they just kind of used those titles. Chris Gray says Halloween is his true holiday. Well, that's I think Chris likes the
what's the true holiday?
Halloween. Says he's like people, that's his favorite holiday, I guess.
Oh, his favorite holiday or favorite Halloween movie?
That's his favorite holiday. Now, thinking I sure. Oh, okay, yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, but, and certainly Halloween. The movie in, I guess, 1978, was it the original with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yes.
And then they just came up with, it was a couple, I think 2 years ago, Halloween, I forget what they call it, but it's the latest version of it. And she's kind of shocking. I think she plays a grandmother or something, and, but it's very, it's something that definitely lived for a long time. So they've gotten a lot out of that.
I think I've seen 3 of them. I saw the first one many times. I saw the second one once. I saw the third one once. And then I think there've been like at least 3 Halloween the Last Chapters, or Halloween the Final Cut, or Halloween, Michael Myers Not Revenge. I don't know. But like
Michael Myers, they got him. Tinfoil Hatter has in Northern Michigan, they had a celebrity called Count Zapula. And here in the DC area, we had Count Gordy Ball. And they had, I'm sure you had one in your area. We had somebody that dressed up SCTV spoofed it with Count Floyd.
Yes.
And that's who did you have in your area? I don't know where you were at.
It was we had Soupy Sales when I was growing up, and he did have a vampire character, but I can't remember what it was. But yes, we
Did you
had
grow up
Soupy
in?
Sales, Jersey, New Jersey.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, that would be that area probably.
Yeah, yeah. There was Soupy Sales, and I mean the benevolent Captain Kangaroo. I mean, but Soupy Sales was the more edgy, like if any,
Right.
yeah,
You had like Vampira, and later you had what's she's still alive. She still
Elvira.
does Elvira. So
Elvira was L.A. Elvira was L.A.
That was
Soupy
LA. Yeah.
Sales
So,
was New York and East Coast. And that kind of stuff.
right. But typically they would have somebody that hosted. There's usually an employee. Count Gore Duvall's Chase is a guy named Dick Dalzell, who I think was the only employee Channel 20 had. But they would dress him up in the vampire outfit, and he would host the late night movies, and they would show usually really most of the time very bad movies, but even bad horror movies, certainly bad science fiction movies are great. I mean, you can love Plan 9 from Outer Space. I mean, how can you not? It's the worst movie ever made, but it has charm.
I've seen it once. I mean, I don't know. It's like,
I just thought the whole thing is fascinating because it was Lugosi's last film. He died very early in the filming.
Yes.
So Ed Wood footage of him, and it makes no sense. It has nothing to do with the rest of the film. And he just hired his chiropractor, who looked nothing like Lugosi. He was a head taller, and just had him walk around with a cape over his face to impersonate him. And it just and he had Vampira was in it, and who had he had? The wrestler Tor Johnson, the ex-wrestler who he used a lot in those movies.
Or Tiny. His name was Tor, not Tiny. Okay.
Tor, maybe that was his character, but he went under Tor Johnson in the movie. Is that it?
Okay. No, I'm probably wrong. I'd say I'm not. Like the whole Ed Wood thing, like even that movie bored me. I don't mean the one you're talking about. I mean like the one.
Oh, with Johnny Depp. Oh, I love that. I love that.
No, it bored me to tears, that movie. And
really?
The Plan 9 stuff. I just don't. I really feel it's like watching paint dry to me. I don't know. I just
you don't like the bad side. I appreciate it too. Basically, still.
I'm in the minority. I don't dispute that. I'm just saying.
Oh, you know what? And still, if any movie comes on from the 50s, the golden age of sci-fi. And all they got to have is some dinosaur that was awakened from it's always they're awakened by some nuclear testing or something, and they just, of course, they're upset and they go and destroy a city. I slip that. People are running and screaming, and something in me, I guess, but
I consume those constantly, like in my childhood, no doubt. Loved them. Nowadays, my taste, like you must know, Kiss Me Deadly.
Kiss Me, yes. Now, what's
that's the Mike Hammer movie that's like for 2.5 acts is like a really hard boiled noir, and then like the last 15 minutes becomes this like wild sci-fi apocalyptic thriller.
I remember the movie. I'm trying to remember how it turns into that, but yeah, Mike Hammer's character is always fascinating. Yeah, that I love noir movies as well.
I can't. That's one of my all-time favorite films, like ever. Kiss Me Deadly. If you out there have not seen Kiss Me Deadly,
I need to watch it again.
Great. It's great. Yes.
We've got lots of Hellraiser, Black Hole, Chucky and Child's Play, Leatherman from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface. These are more. I mean, I've seen a lot of these movies, but I don't know about you.
The two that jumped out at me, I did like that first Chucky movie a lot. I think that's a very good, like, entertaining horror film. There was one other that somebody mentioned before that, but like the Hellraiser stuff, I don't know. Like if you're gonna get down and not my thing so much, and the things I made notes of were like maybe a little different, like Halloween. Yes, John Carpenter, great film. Yes, absolutely. But like, what more is there really to say about it? So like if we're going to talk about John Carpenter, I would bring up something like Prince of Darkness, which is a film that, maybe not as good as Halloween or at least as genre changing. That's a disturbing film, I have to say. That's a movie. Have you seen Prince of Darkness?
I'm trying to think. Who's in that?
Well, Donald Pleasance is probably the biggest name. There were a couple of people. He plays the priest, and there were a
Yeah.
couple of people who were like big on TV at the time, but now are kind of obscure. I think the guy who was one of the stars of Simon and Simon was in it, and maybe the actress was like on one of the Dallas spinoffs or
I
something.
think I've seen it. I don't remember much about it, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
They're trying to like stop the devil from coming back, and it's kind of this combination of both science and spirituality. And
Yeah.
Jesus may or may not be like an alien or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
anyway, all right. Well, I don't
We
think
got lots of people.
we're not
Well,
going to. Go ahead.
No, well, tell us the notes you have. Tell us some of the movies you like. I want to hear this.
Well, look, I would say, okay, to hit with the lead, I think in the 21st century, and I've tried to keep things in the 21st century, not all, but a lot. The two most adept horror movies that I have seen in the 21st century, actually, one was a film and one was on television. And the film is called The Wailing. And it is a nearly 3-hour detective film from South Korea, directed by Na Hong Jin, who has made like a bunch of great movies, but The Wailing is his masterpiece. And so that's the film. And then on television or streaming, I would go with True Detective Season 1 by Kari Jose Fukunaga, written by Nick Pizzolatto, as like the greatest horror thing. And the reason I picked the two of those is because they're both detective films. The Wailing takes place in a small like province in South Korea, and True Detective takes place in the bayou of Louisiana. And both of them are basically a pretty good interpretation of what I have discovered in my life, where like when I was an investigative reporter, when you start like digging into this stuff, if you're a true detective or like the small town detective in The Wailing, when you like dig into like real evil, what you start detecting is like the occult and the supernatural. And in both of those shows and that movie, things start as just like a normal detective story. But then as more and more evil is revealed behind these crimes, you realize there's this supernatural horror behind it, much deeper than just personal crimes. And
you're getting
the
too
way,
sophisticated for me when you start talking about Korean film and everything. And
oh man, The Wailing is so good. The Wailing
I'm not
is
cultured enough
so
for that.
good. All right. Well, all right. So there's that. Those are the two things. We'll move on. Nosferatu. Did you see Nosferatu last year?
Certainly. Yep.
Did you see it in theaters?
No, you're talking about the silent film or the
No,
remake?
the one last year with Robert Eggers.
I have not seen that. I saw the one with that was made about 10 years ago that starred what's the guy's name? Who was that?
Pluskinski?
Who played the actor? I forget the actor's name that played Nosferatu. That played the character that he got the look for it. He's a famous actor. I'm forgetting names all the time now. He was in the Spider-Man. He was Spider-Man's friend's dad. What's the guy's name?
Willem Dafoe?
Willem Dafoe. Yeah, Willem Dafoe. He played the character, and it was about the filming of Nosferatu.
Oh yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. I never saw that. I don't know.
That's why, but I've not seen the more recent one though.
Okay. Well, in brief, then I think that is probably the most cinematic film made in the past couple of years. I thought the Eggers Nosferatu was really work of genius. And to sit in the movie theater through that was very different. And the thing that movie reveals, and it should have won the cinematography Oscars. I wish I could remember the guy's name. Whoever did the cinematography, Nosferatu, you got robbed. I don't know who won it, but they couldn't have been better than you. It was shot on film, and the blacks in that movie, the night, you can like literally tell the different shades and tones, like from under a tree and a half moon or a full moon. I mean, just the movie is so beautifully shot. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about Nosferatu just as a cinematic experience. But
Chris Grace is telling me the film was Gods and Monsters. I thought Gods and Monsters was a film of James Whale.
I do too, James. I
Yeah.
also believe that Gods and Monsters is James Whale.
Yeah, I think, which is an interesting for James Whale, obviously a interesting character, directed Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, and was a celebrated director for a long time,
Yes.
and committed suicide by walking into his pool. It's very strange, but gay back then when it wasn't accepted necessarily. When they go into that a little bit in the film, but
And he hadn't worked for years, right? Am I remembering correctly?
no, I don't think he has. We all get the Devil's Rain. That's a good movie. And I don't like a lot of '70s films. That 1975 film, The Devil's Rain, that was creepy.
Yeah, it
About
was.
Satanist forces, and I like the movies about Satanists. I think it's really, that's why I like The Seventh Victim so much. But I'll get to talk about. I want you to tell some more things, other of your favorites, whatever notes you made besides that.
Well, I mentioned Robert Eggers again just because I think he's a masterful filmmaker, even though Nosferatu, I think, was the first movie of his I actually liked. But I did see that movie, The Witch, which I always say The Witch, just because it's got that, the W thing there. But when I saw that movie, I felt dead inside for like days. So, I mean, that tells me he's a masterful filmmaker. But I mean, I hated that movie. But it's, again, I would say it's a 4-star film. Masterfully made, but like deeply evil. And of course, The Exorcist. I mean, there are a couple things on here I just wrote down. There's just like 4-star films. The Exorcist, 4-star film. Silence of the Lambs, a 4-star film. We need to talk about those? Everybody knows those movies.
Sure.
I used to be a big proponent of Event Horizon. But in recent years, like that movie has really seen its reputation pick up, and I'm grateful for that. I think The Critical Drinker, like he's probably the most populist, I would say, of the modern critics. He's become a big fan of Event Horizon. So I'm not going to say too much about that. I do think. Did you see Sinners? How about Sinners? Maybe we've both seen Sinners.
I don't. Who's in that? I don't think so. Who's in that?
That is the one, like the Black Vampire movie with Michael B. Jordan. It came out last October, directed by Ryan Coogler.
I remember Blackula. I thought that was
no, it's not Blackula. Blackula's a good movie, though. Blackula's or an entertaining movie. Although again, I haven't seen it.
You resisted. I mean, the name was so ridiculous. You had to go watch it.
Well, it was another case too where there were so many of those blaxploitation films where the first one is like a crackerjack flick, man, like really good, like a B movie just done right, boom. And then it made a bunch of money. And like, oh my God, we got to turn it around real fast. And the second one like sucks and it like sinks the franchise,
Much better than was it a Brooklyn Vampire with Eddie Murphy? That was kind of silly.
That was pretty silly. I remember the woman in that though being absolutely stunningly beautiful. That's like that's my takeaway from that movie. Like okay. Because I don't remember much else. Was that 80s or something? I don't think it was.
I think it was 80s. Yeah.
And Society. Have you seen Society? Wait a minute. Before we get off Sinners, so you haven't seen Sinners? I mean, I think it's the best movie of the year so far.
The only way I watch new movies is we have streaming services, so most of them stay in the theater for such a short period of time now. They'll be on in a couple of weeks. So now, when was it out? It might be on there now.
Yeah, it is. No, I think it's on streaming now. I think it was like back. Yeah, because like I would love to, like, I think I have a couple insights about Sinners that like I haven't heard any other critic say, but I'm not going to say them now if you haven't seen it. So I guess
I'll let you check it out. No, I'm not. Again, I'm not as up to date on the newer films because I'm obviously locked in the past with the classic. I see The Wicker Man. The Wicker Man's very good.
That's a disturbing movie.
Yeah, very disturbing. And I think it's two. There's a remake too. Poltergeist, I can't watch because of what happened to the cast. The one girl that was murdered, and then the young girl. They're back. I mean, I think she was murdered too. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, died from murderous levels of injury.
Yes, even worse. Yes.
They, like I said about Ryan's daughter, and like I said about The Mummy, Poltergeist is another one of those movies where I just think it's a foul film. Something was going wrong on that movie. Like Poltergeist left me feeling dirty. That's a foul film.
Yeah, yeah. And again, what happened to the actor? I think I saw it, I guess, originally back then, but with what happened to, especially the little girl, So I think the last one, she died before it when they still used her to say they're back, and I said I'm not going to watch that after what happened to her.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I
saw the
can't.
first two. She's in like the first two. Is she in the third one? I can't
I know
remember.
maybe whatever one it was. Yeah, I think they used her. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know that much about it.
But there's
People.
also like there's a lot of stuff to be said about Poltergeist. And I've said it decades ago. I probably should write it down. But like that whole thing, like they're here. Like maybe there are like evil entities coming into our world through this television. They're bringing
Yeah.
these foul
Yeah.
messages and pushing society's
Mhm.
transgressive limits, by normalizing these things, that television does, or lying to you through the news like television does.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, so we have I mean, you're obviously, you have I think a broader view of things. I've
No,
watched
I
very
believe
many.
every movie is two movies. Every movie is two movies, even the
Right,
terrible ones. There's the movies
right,
for the profane, the masses, the muggles, and then
right,
there's this movie that's been made for everybody else, all the people in Hollywood, for one thing,
right.
but like the people who know. The people who know. And once you see that, I mean, you can see this stuff in all these movies. And actually, they're getting worse at it because they're just being so lecturing. They're just being so
Oh,
whatever. That's a whole separate thing.
and that's the problem I think with a lot of modern horror movies. Hitchcock. I love Hitchcock, and he and the original Universal horror films. There was no blood. They didn't show anything, and and Hitchcock built suspense by not showing anything. And I thought that was great. Like somebody mentioned, I think Psycho still probably. What do you think? Your thoughts on Psycho? I think that's still one of the scariest films.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember like talking about Psycho with my mom when I was very young. And I saw Psycho then, and I saw it again in film school. And but she said like she saw that because everybody was seeing it. She said she almost threw up. She said like back when it came out to theaters, nobody had seen a movie where like you were the murderer. Like
Mhm.
that's the thing there, like you're the murderer in
Yeah.
that. And like she said, she was freaking out. She couldn't really take it. And now all that sort of stuff is normalized. But like
Yeah.
back in 1960 in black and white and all that kind of stuff, my mom and like, talking about the power of film. I forget our conversation, but she said that movie also, I guess to her, felt foul. Like it made you feel like you were the killer.
Yeah.
Nobody had seen stuff like that before, or at least she hadn't, or at least not in a
Mhm.
mainstream film, or nobody as talented as Alfred Hitchcock had been able to pull it off before, maybe,
Right. Right.
because he was a supremely talented film director. But that's one thing that always stuck with me. She's like, they made me feel like I was a murderer.
Yeah. No, that was the cool thing about it, is that it was it was not a monster. I mean, it was a monster, but it wasn't, it wasn't like a Frankenstein or Dracula. It was it's just kind of a psycho. Obviously, that's where they came up with the name.
Yeah, yeah,
Psycho, which of
yeah.
course we call everybody psycho now, but I mean I think that was the
Everybody kind of is now, but okay.
yeah, the origin of the phrase. And then you had something like um, the killer that Anthony Hopkins played. That's I think very derivative of psycho, the same kind of thing. And I think that Anthony Perkins, I think that's one of the great performances in screen history. I just think that I don't think you can play somebody crazy that much, but they had a TV series on Psycho that came. It was on
Yes,
just recently. Oh man, and
Bates
the British
Motel. Bates Motel.
Bates Motel. Oh god, that was great. I mean,
Was it really?
well, it was
All right.
it was it was very dark and disturbing, and I, sometimes I felt guilty watching it because it was really, really, it was nobody good on it at all.
That I
And
would never like that show.
yeah,
No.
but it was just really well done, and the
Wait.
actor,
Yep, go
the
ahead.
guy that played young Norman was every bit as good as Anthony Perkins. And I got him Freddie Highmore, I think it's no, it's not Freddie Highmore. Freddie, I can't remember, but he's a fantastic actor, really, really good. I just wish they had. Because the first few seasons, it was very nuanced, and you weren't really sure if he was doing this stuff or not. And then once they made it apparent that he really was a murderer, then I think it lost a lot of its appeal. Because when the audience knows what's happening, I like to to be guessing.
Mhm.
And once they did that, I think the show kind of lost its charm. But it was a very, very good show, I think. But so what I'm thinking, what are some of your other favorites?
Well, I just gotta ask, wasn't that Bates Motel? Was that a J.J. Abrams like thing?
Oh, was it? Oh, maybe it was.
It might not have been. It might not have been. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think like why I like
If it was, it
avoided
did
it.
pretty well.
So I mean, I don't know that it was, but I mean, I had The Ring written down just because that was a very frightening film, but that's another film everybody talks about. Have you seen Society?
I don't think so. Is this a newer movie too?
No, Society was made in 1989, but was not released in the United States until the early 90s.
Oh, okay.
It's written by my recent friend Zeph Daniel, directed by Brian Yuzna. It has a notorious third act with some really, really gruesome effects. But again, if you haven't seen it, I shouldn't really go into it too much because
Yeah, well, just recommend it. I had to check it out. So recommend Society.
Society.
I'm sorry I haven't seen a lot of these films. I want to see if we come up with some that I've seen.
Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, here we go. And I have this buried down here in my notes. Back to Karl Freund again and how influential he was in American cinema and television, and nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
He did the lighting and the cinematography for the first 6 years of I Love Lucy.
Yes, I was going to say, yeah, he was I Love Lucy. Yeah.
Wow. Which
Believe it or not.
Yes. I mean, I Love Lucy was the show that made people buy televisions in America. It was the most influential, even more than Uncle Milty. Even more than Uncle Milty. Okay. I am digging down. These are I have obscure horrors. A couple of these are some really obscure horrors. All right. And when I would say when I start to feel horror in a show or a movie or something, it's when I'm like, oh my God, no. Like you almost know it's coming and you realize what's about to happen and you just can't believe they're going to do it. So there was this mini series that flopped on, and I'll tell you why it flopped. Actually, I know why it flopped. A Netflix a couple years ago called 1899 about this haunted ocean liner. Are you familiar with that?
I think so.
Okay, it was made by the same guys who wrote and directed and produced Dark, which was a pretty big hit show on Netflix. I don't know if you know that. That was. I like that show until it kind of resolved itself in the third season, not as well. I like the mystery better. But anyway, so they got a lot more money to make this horror ship show called 1899. And something happens in the third episode that made people bail on it. They just stopped watching it and it flopped. But my son and I kept up with it. And in the sixth episode, there's this truly horrific moment where one by one, everybody on the ship just goes to the plank and jumps off. Thousands of people, like lemmings. They just start walking off. And as it's happening and it dawns on you what's going on, that was a pretty deep horror for me. Not that anybody should watch that show because but that was one. And the other one is, and that sounds like I actually went over like a wet balloon. So hopefully I'll do better with. I also discovered this 1965 TV show called Undermined, which was in black and white and lost for many years. And it has a couple moments of real horror, and it is also very timely in the sense it's about this woman whose husband's a cop, and he loses his sense of empathy. He can't feel happiness or joy or anymore, and he leaves her. And then the guy's brother comes back from an overseas mission, and things spiral from there. There's something going on. Some other force is sucking the life out of all these authority figures in Britain, and it goes through episode by episode in an almost prescient fashion. You go from cops to politicians to a call girl ring to a very influential children's author. All of these people who are beloved in society get sucked up in this undermining thing. So I would recommend that too if you can find that. But
Absolutely. Chris
sorry.
Groves is full of it. It's The Shining, which I think that's kind of become it's a modern. Again, I think that's kind of like Anthony Perkins in Psycho. I think that's driven so much by Jack Nicholson's performance, The Shining. Kind of. I think. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Perkins is better in Psycho than Jack Nicholson is in The Shining. It seems to me Jack Nicholson is crazy from the get-go in The Shining, unlike in the book where he gradually loses it.
Yeah.
The most interesting
Jack not to play crazy, it comes natural to him or something.
It does come naturally, but he's a good enough actor that he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, like especially some of his later, like The Crossing Guard, some of those later career films.
Yeah.
But the most interesting stuff about The Shining is just how strange it is, like at its roots, like just in the way its shots are set up and how nothing in the hospital makes sense. I mean, like I'm sure you've seen the documentary about it. What's called like Room 237 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the whole external design of the hotel doesn't match the internal workings of the way people walk through it and where windows are. That shouldn't have a window. Like, well, it's just, the movie itself is haunted. Like that's I guess what I'm saying. The movie itself is haunted. The Shining is a work of genius, but I'm not sure in the way that a lot of people think it is, or maybe I don't understand it. Certainly.
Yeah, you're right. It's one of those ones you can watch and keep seeing things each time as each time you watch it. And that's why I don't know how many people in the chat have heard of it. You're really into some obscure things. I thought I was, but obviously we're into different obscure things. One of my favorites is The Seventh Victim I mentioned earlier, which was done by Val Lewton in 1943. And Val Lewton was he's become renowned now as a he was a producer, but I don't know why, but somehow all the films are kind of credited as Val Lewton films, even though he didn't write or direct them. In fact, I think it was Robert Flory that directed. I can't remember, but he was the producer, but he's given credit for the Val Lewton style, the shadows, and if you watch The Seventh Victim, it is so creepy. It's you have to watch nothing like it. It's about a sect of Satan worshipers in modern day New York, Greenwich Village, and Hugh Beaumont is our hero, the future Ward Cleaver, young Ward, and so of course I love that, and it's just so creepy. I mean, some of the way the people look, and they the fact that they openly worship Satan and they're trying to kill people, it's just really, really strange. I would urge anybody who hasn't seen it to see it. This is the same guy that did the Cat People, Return of the Cat People, Leopard Man, I Walked with a Zombie, can't remember that, but lots more. But you can go see that, and I'll have to try to look up some of the films you said. But give me some more, man. I hope it will be some more.
Hold on, I'm looking up here because there is a Hammer horror film with a very similar plot to The Devil Rides Out. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay. I have that in my queue. I've not watched it yet. That's a 1968 film from Hammer, about almost exactly that. About this satanic cult that springs up and sucks this guy in, and his friends try to get him out, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an unusual plot. That's the first one I know of, but that's just one of my favorites. And one of my favorites from the 60s. I don't know what you think of it. I think Rosemary's Baby.
Oh God!
Really, really creepy film.
Yes, it is. I mean, again, that's another one. Like, what more is there? Well, actually, there might be stuff to still say about Rosemary's Baby. That's a movie that might yet have some keys to unlock. In fact, I may know a couple secret keys to Rosemary's Baby that I have written about but not yet published, because there's a good chance I'm wrong. It's a big swing. It's a big swing, but there's stuff to Rosemary's Baby that there are still keys to be unlocked to that film. There definitely is, no question. Polanski, I mean, evil genius, no question. I mean, yes, but that guy is such a great filmmaker. I mean, you got to give it to him. I mean, you hate to say it.
I think it's his masterpiece. Yeah. I mean, this is fantastic. And for those of you who know, I'm sure most people know that he was the husband of Sharon Tate, but somehow, I mean, he's not an odd couple, but later to apparently rape a 13-year-old, I guess, in the bathroom. And he's has been I guess it been barred from the United States since, but never prosecuted. But it's a great movie and it's creepy. And again, obviously, I like these films about Satanists because I think when Hollywood makes these films, sometimes it's almost like autobiographical, where they're letting you in a little bit to their world. Because I think Satan has such power in Hollywood
Yep,
that
absolutely.
they're familiar with it. And I think it's something like that. Cassavetes directed it. No, Cassavetes starred in it.
No,
And
yeah,
which he did.
Mia Farrow is the star. He's one of the
And Mia
co-stars.
Farrow, who I love, and people cut her down. I mean, I think her performance is charming. Just these kind of really underacts, really underacts. And I don't like her hairdo really in that, but she just kind of fits the role, and she looks sickly when she's supposed to, and everything. They make her look the right way, and it's just really creepy because you have the old couple, Ruth Gordon and the other guy that are the helpful Satanist. Out. It's just, if you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen it once. I haven't seen it in a long time, and I probably should see it again. But I mean, I that was another movie that left me feeling very unsettled for days afterwards.
Oh yeah, it's depressing. It really is, but maybe there's the best kind. But I don't know.
No. It's a great film, unquestionably. Have you seen The Ninth Gate?
Yeah, is that Johnny
The
Depp?
Ninth Gate? Yes.
Is that Johnny Depp, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was made much later in the 90s, I think. I didn't know Polanski made that. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because he was already. They must have filmed it somewhere else because he was already
Throughout
out of
Europe.
the US. Okay.
Throughout Europe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
Depp is operating on behest of the Vatican, right? Isn't that the whole the beginning? He's
Yeah. It's very creepy. And again, I love Johnny Depp too, so that was I have to watch that again. I have watched it. It's been a while though.
Johnny Depp is one of America's greatest living film actors. I mean, that's just the way it is. For what else he is he a great guy? Probably not. But is he a great actor? No question.
Naturally creepy. That's why you didn't like Ed Wood. I love the Ed Wood. I love the Martin Landau impression of Bela Lugosi, and I thought it was. Ed Wood fascinates me. I mean, he was I still think Bride of the Monster. I can watch it several times. I mean, it's obviously really bad, but there's again, I don't know. I think there is such a thing as something being so bad that it's good. You probably don't agree because I see you're more of a connoisseur of good film. I don't know what I'm looking for sometimes, but
no, I clearly like some bad movies. I just I think I like mine bigger than that, like King Kong versus Godzilla. Like that's a bad movie.
For sure.
But I like that movie a lot. Even the recent ones, which are terrible, but once those monsters get fighting, I love it.
Oh yeah, I don't miss any of them. I've never missed any kind of King Kong movie, even though I think it might be stupid, but it's they get me every time. Godzilla. I haven't missed any of those either.
I just want to say before we get too far past Johnny Depp, I wanted to name drop like my favorite Johnny Depp movie of at least the past 20 years. City of Lies. Have you seen City of Lies? It kind of popped under radar because of COVID, and then Disney was supposed to release it, then they didn't because it's about the Biggie Smalls thing, and somebody probably leaned on them from LAPD or something.
I don't think I have seen it. No, I don't think I've seen it. No.
Oh, all right. That is an excellent, great detective film. With it's almost like True Detective with only one guy. Like it takes place like right after. Anyway, I don't want to give too much away, but it takes place like years apart, and Depp is like a younger detective, and then Depp years later when he starts to dig into the case again. And it's a real guy, and it's a real murder. And it's just like such a glimpse at the underbelly of how dirty and corrupt LA is.
Sure.
But Depp is great in it.
You must have loved From Hell.
Yeah. I mean, not as much as I might because I read the original Alan Moore thing. And I would say the Alan Moore thing is another work of like unbelievable, unparalleled genius. While the movie is like, maybe a little gratuitous, like dumbing down of it, but good performances and dark. Ooh. And dark, but also like colorfully, beautifully, vibrantly, evilly shot.
Yeah. It was very good. It's based loosely, because I'm a kind of a ripperologist too. I used to study the Jack the Ripper things, and I think the royal family was involved. So that's what they and Freemasonry. They took Stephen. God, I'm forgetting all kinds of names. The guy that wrote Jack the Ripper: The Final Solution, Stephen Knight, who I think they killed after he wrote the book. He was very young, but he exposed Freemasonry in England, and he talked about he named Sir William Gull, who this movie does as well.
Right.
And they kind of took his theory, it twisted it a little bit, but it was very bold for Hollywood to do that. I've never seen any other film where they expressly show high-ranking Freemasons like that. I've never seen any other film like that.
No,
Yeah.
no, and it's even big. I mean, did you read the book, the graphic novel?
No, I have not read that.
Dude, you'll dig that, man. There's like a
Oh yeah,
like yes, he goes deep in the Freemasonry. And the subtext of what's kind of left unstated, but if you want my personal opinion, if you buy into the whole conspiracists, there are 7 secret societies in constant conflict to rule the world. Sometimes to pull off occult rituals in which to steer humanity into a darker vein, the societies will align. And there seems to be a subtext to the Alan Moore book. I don't remember it so much in the film, but in the book, like you got the Freemasons, the Vatican, and the royal family all working together to pull off this like black magic spell working to shift the 20th century into this like horrific, darker, imagined world. And then they do it again. They don't talk about this in Hell or From Hell, but then the surmise would be that they did it again with 9/11 for the 21st century.
cool. Yeah.
All right. So that's it. Because again, that's not just one dark occult secret society pulling off 9/11. It's a bunch of them working in tandem for the worsening of humanity. So you go back, you can kind of see the same fingerprints on Jack the Ripper.
I'm cool. I just dropped the StreamYard link into the chat, guys. So anybody that wants to call in or pop in for a video chat, you know what to do. So it's in there. We'd love to have your questions or comments. Maybe you'll come up with some movies we don't know about or your favorite memories.
Obscure horror movies. Obscure horror movies.
The more obscure, the better for Tom. Tom is really into. I mean, I thought but obviously I'm not in your league with that. But I mean, I liked, I like a lot of I thought one of the movies I liked that they had a lot of 80s vampires and horror movies. Kind of a revitalization of them, and I think Fright Night holds up pretty well from 1985.
Yes, I saw that maybe 5 years ago with one of my kids. Yeah, I thought that was a really well done horror comedy. Really well done. Yeah. Brilliantly cast. I mean, casting is so key. Roddy McDowell, the guy who played the vampire. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because that was Roddy wasn't in a whole lot of films later on, and he was kind of a Hollywood personality who knew so many people, good friends with Elizabeth Taylor and people like that. So it's good to see him have a juicy role there. And I thought Vamp was pretty good. That also came out about the same time. And I still think Teen Wolf is pretty cool. I kind of on a kind of schlocky level. I loved Michael J. Fox. I don't know. It was kind of over the top, but I thought it was good for what it was for the 80s.
I haven't seen it since it was in theaters in 1985. I bet. Because wasn't the timing on that movie was perfect, because I think it was made before Back to the Future, but then they held it and then released it after Back to the Future, and that made that movie a big hit.
Well, Michael J. Fox was he was one of my favorite, because back then in those times, everybody used to tell me that I looked like Michael J. Fox when Family Ties was on. I got that all the time back then. So I started saying, well, I gotta love this guy. So I started watching him, and I thought, well, his character's kind of interesting. And then I loved Back to the Future, and he unfortunately had a very short-lived reign, and he's been dealing with Parkinson's for a number of years. It's very sad, because he's not that old, and it's it's too bad. I think he was a really good comedic actor.
Wait a minute. The only thing I would defer is he had a short reign. I would say Michael J. Fox had a pretty terrific career. that took a bitter turn near the end. But
Well,
I
I
mean,
guess maybe he did. I guess he started into the 90s, and I guess he had that Spin City show. I guess that was
the guy
that.
had 2 hit sitcoms. That is rare. I mean, like
That's
2
true.
hit sitcoms. I mean,
Yeah,
more power to you, Michael J. Fox.
that's
Um,
true.
now as a movie star, however, I would say yes, his window was not nearly so large.
Yeah,
He had
yeah.
Back to the Future. Then he did have a couple other like rom-coms that were okay. He made the big push to drama in Bright Lights, Big City, and that didn't make it. That was kind of where like he was trying to make the move, and it didn't
Mm-hmm.
happen.
He'll always be known for Marty McFly and Back to the Future. Back to the Future holds up well. It's
Excellent. Yes.
considered, if you think of the 80s, that's maybe the quintessential 80s movie. I think. If you look at
I would
it,
say Die Hard. I'm a Die Hard
yeah,
guy, but Back to the Future is great, indisputable.
no, I think it's right there. Ghostbusters was
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters was 1984, and that's more of a comedy, but it's obviously got a lot of horror elements to it, and a lot
Beverly
of
Hills
big
Cop.
Yeah. So it's somebody said Ghostbuster. Chris says Ghostbusters is right ahead. Phantasm. I don't think I ever saw Phantasm. A lot of these movies that I didn't see. I don't know, they just didn't interest me or whatever. I have
I
weird
haven't seen it since I was in high school or college. I would bet when I saw Phantasm.
but I can tell
Uh,
most of the people in the chat are more recent films. I don't see too much talk about the early the Universal horror films or anything like that. And Universal, that kept their studio afloat back in the day. They were, like Shirley Temple was at 20th Century Fox, and you had, at Universal you had the horror movies. You had,
right. Right. And they've tried to bring them back. Universal's tried to resuscitate the Universal Monster brand. I don't know if you remember, there was that Dark Universe. Do you remember that when they tried to launch that a few years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a disaster. I mean, the Dark Universe is one of the greatest examples of just how remarkably stupid Hollywood is. It is like the Dark Universe was idiocy the way it played out. Tom Hanks in a mummy movie where he becomes the mummy, but he's not really a mummy. He's just now going to be like a superhero. It's just idiocy.
And then
Go, please.
we talk certainly the original Dracula, which again is still one of my favorites, because Dracula's one of my favorite novels of all time by Bram Stoker, and I remember reading as a very young guy, and challenging reading, but brilliantly done, and it's never been captured adequately on screen. They're like Francis Ford Coppola, in his version in the 90s, which I had great expectations for, because he claimed he had given the novel to all the cast members and they were reading it and everything. But then he comes up with this ridiculous hairdo on Gary Oldman. It was like this bouffant hairdo. What the hell was that? I mean, where that came from? It's certainly not from the novel. And he kind of introduces the Dracula as sex symbol into it, which is a modern thing. That's not hinted at in the novel. They kind of make him out to a sex, and I just don't think. I don't know why they have to do that, but I don't know what your thoughts of Coppola's Dracula was. But I was disappointed in that.
Well, I have to say, the first time I saw Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, I was blown away. Saw it in the cinema, and I gave it 4 stars. I rarely felt it was a significantly singular, like, movie-going experience. And then I watched it with my kids a few years ago, and I was like, it's not the same movie on TV. It just wasn't. It didn't have the same captivating power. But I still thought it was good, loaded with movie stars, good actor, good performances. I like the practical special effects, like Dracula scuttling up the wall. That was cool.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And yeah, I like Gary Oldman a lot, and so I cut him a lot of slack. And yes, it was a different interpretation of Dracula as defined by the director and the actor, but I just went with it. I did. I mean, I think he was a magnetic actor playing a magnetic supernatural screen presence.
Helen Rundell says I should be ashamed of never seeing Phantasm. I don't think I was in Phantasm. Maybe I've seen it, I'm just not remembering it. Who's in that?
That's the one with the killer ball that like sails through the mortuary. killing people with the spike that comes out. Ah!
I don't think so. I apologize for not saying that. You know, I've watched a lot of movies, but obviously I haven't seen what's the one. God, see, I like some low class movies. There's a movie. The late.
Phantasm is pretty low class.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
low
that's right.
budget, low budget, low budget. Low budget.
Yeah, yeah. Bride of Frankenstein was very Chris. Somebody, I think somebody mentioned Night of the Living Dead. Now that to me, that's a
Oh,
really scary film. But again, it's just I can't watch it. It's too depressing. Has no
yes.
comedic relief at all.
Right.
It's kind of overwhelming. What are your thoughts?
Again, a movie that I saw, I guess I've seen it twice. I don't need to see it again. It's an incredibly powerful experience, suspenseful, horrific, leaves you feeling dead inside for days.
Yeah,
You know, it's like,
yeah.
why do I want to watch that movie over and over again? Like, but yes, is it brilliant? Yes, it's a brilliant film, no question. Like, but I mean, once would have been enough. You know, I say that about a lot of movies and I end up seeing them again. You know, I watched Clockwork Orange. When I first saw Clockwork Orange, I was like, I am never going to see that movie again. And then I watched it like a couple years later because, you know, I was in Paris with people who hadn't seen it. And then my kid wanted to watch it. And I watched it again. And every time I see it, I feel dead inside for 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
you catch different things. Oh, yeah. No, it's, and that's, yeah, you're right. And that's, I remember, I think I saw it. I remember seeing it when I was very young, and it scared me more than I don't know. I guess because it was so bleak, and the opening or one of the scenes in the cemetery when they're coming. It just, I don't know. There's just no real hero. I don't think you would say nothing. It's just overall, there's no hope at all, and it's just these zombies are attacking, and plus it was notable because it's the first time. 1968, it was kind of unusual to see the zombies walking around naked. I remember that caught my attention. I thought, wait a minute, naked zombies. I don't know. Those two don't go together. Let's see.
There were a lot of naked zombies in that disappointing 28 Years Later movie that came out over the summer. One extraordinarily well hung zombie, in fact, that they went out of their way to show us over and over again.
I don't watch those guys. I don't need to know what zombies are well hung.
Exactly, right? I mean, that movie.
Not on my mind.
That movie pissed me off. It was like another bait and switch, another one of those bait and switch movies.
Yeah, I mean, you see a sexy zombie, and it's like, what that even means. It's pretty bizarre.
I think right. Well, you know what? You're right. The sexy vampire put us on a very, very slippery, dark slope where now you've got like these freaky chicks reading these books about becoming like lovers of like man boars or something like that. Do you know? Right? I mean, what the hell, people? Right. Stop.
Well, it leads to the
Please
Twilight.
Stop.
Who I saw with my kids when the Twilight films, but. Very innocuous, not scary at all. But again, kind of pushing that theme, obviously, of you can have sex with vampires, and it's okay. It's just a misunderstood relationship. Well, I don't know. You're having sex with the undead. Something doesn't seem right about that. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Somebody mentioned that. Rocky, were you a Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I mean, I went to one of the midnight screenings when I was in high school. It was a very risque, exciting things to do.
Yeah,
we brought this stuff, and and then certainly even back in it would have been 79, maybe. I don't remember, but I was still in high school, so maybe 80. That kind of sexuality stuff was like really risque. Like, oh my God,
Susan Sarandon, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So then I watched it, I think VHS or maybe. That stuff down with my ex-wife. It's just not a really good movie. There's some good songs. I like some of the rock songs, but a couple good flamboyant performances. I don't need to see that movie again. I'd listen to the soundtrack. I've got the soundtrack actually. But I don't know. It's more fun in an audience with people. It's a great time. You sing along. I mean, it's a great.
Oh, time. It's an interactive experience. I know, but a Bass Girl 42 says she's been listening and been transported back to her Fangoria magazine subscription days. Clive Barker, H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft, big fan of his. I don't think they've ever really made. Of course, his stories are mostly short novellas at the most. I don't think they've made an adequate film of his work that I know of. What do you think of that?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I think they've discovered his mood. in some films, the mood. But
Mhm.
I haven't seen that Nick Cage movie. What's it called? The Color of I can't remember.
Color from Out of Space, or think it, or something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that.
That was the title called, yeah.
Color from Space. Yes, I think that's the title.
I have to check it. I didn't know that because I like Nicolas Cage, so I have to check that out.
I haven't seen it. I've heard like that one's pretty good. But like I don't understand why nobody has made an adaptation of At the Mountains of Madness, which
Yeah,
is
sure.
in my opinion, his true masterpiece. In my opinion, I know a couple people love
Right.
those Cthulhu stories, but
Yeah.
I think The Mountains of Madness is wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's his masterpiece. And like
Or
why
even-
that has not been made into a movie by like Guillermo del Toro. Like Guillermo del Toro, there's one for you, dude. Right?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Or just even an exploration of his, because he was an odd character. He was not quite, because I think Edgar Allan Poe, they've made movies. They did one with Cusack, I think, John Cusack, who I normally like, about 5 years ago or something. But it just, Edgar Allan Poe, his character, I don't know why they can't capture that on film. His life was more fascinating than his work, I think. And Lovecraft was pretty fascinating too, not to that level, but I would like to see more of that. But whenever they've tried it, it just doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, I don't know. There was that one movie that was an adaptation of one of my preferred short stories about like the guy who goes exploring in the graveyard and he's got the wire that he's letting out. Then he meets that creature that does the clicking underground. Do you know the story?
No, who's this by?
Oh, no, that's a Lovecraft story. It's a Lovecraft.
Oh,
story.
okay, Lovecraft. Yeah, Lovecraft. No, I don't recognize that.
Yeah, I can't remember. Well, whatever. What kind of guest am I bring up this thing? I can't remember the name of it either. But anyway,
I can't remember half.
Yes,
I have. I'm talking about, but people
we
think it's a
need a-
lively kind.
right. We want more H.P. Lovecraft stories made by talented directors. Right?
Yes, we do.
Robert Eggers.
Yeah.
I bet you could direct the hell out of The Mountains of Madness.
Right,
I mean,
I'm
no pun intended.
I'm putting the link out there again, guys. Come on, we'd like to see some calls, some video chat here. You don't have to come on camera. You can be audio. If you want to contribute, maybe you have some special memories.
Well, it's Halloween, man.
Of Halloween, sure. I don't.
They're serving trick or treaters, or they're making pentagrams in the basement. Who knows?
Well, again, things have changed. Like in our neighborhood for probably the last 5 years or more, we just don't get trick or treaters. I mean, I don't know where they're at, but they're just. I think they all go trunk or treating, or they're maybe their parents are religious and they think it's satanic to do it. I don't know. I don't get it, but to me, I think it's harmless fun, and I don't know. I think when you, as a kid, learning that there was at night, because there were no other night where you were told to go out into the night, see candy, and all these people are going to give you.
I have not had a trick or treater in my 5 years of Halloween here in Texas, in my neighborhood, and I wonder now that I think about it. I live in a largely Hispanic neighborhood, and I wonder if maybe they don't do the trick or treating thing. Maybe they don't do the trick or treating thing.
Well, they're largely Catholic, but I was a Catholic, and I don't know. Maybe that kind of Catholicism frowns on it. I don't know. Bass Girl 40, good. I love it when people from other countries she's from New Zealand. Highly recommends Peter Jackson. There's your boy. Early horror stuff, Brain Dead and Meet the Feebles. I don't think I've seen. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I've heard of them both. They're the little baby more extreme than I would prefer, but I know
Really?
that
Okay.
they show a gifted auteur in his early years of development. I mean, I think if you see those movies, a guy who knows what he's doing made those movies.
Chris Gray says the link is not working. Huh. I don't know, Tony, if you're listening out there, I put the link that's in the link that I have here. I'm going to try it again. Let me try copying it. Let me try it that way. All right, let's see. I know it doesn't seem to work, but we'll try it again. Maybe the third time's the charm. You can try Chris or whoever.
We'll go back, Jack. Do it again.
Oh, there you go. And what are your thoughts on it? There's not, what are your thoughts on the song Monster Mass by Bobby Boris Pickett?
Oh, well,
classic song from the early 60s.
I bet I've heard that song 1,000 times before I turned 12.
Yeah,
I
a
played that
great,
song a lot. I loved it on the radio. I bought the 45. But yeah. Yeah. It caught on in a
classic.
smash.
Yeah, Cloud in the Past. Yeah, it's a graveyard smash.
It was
They did
graveyard.
the mesh.
Yeah.
I mean, what about the Transylvania Twist? Now that's a classic song, and I don't know why there's no more Halloween songs like that, but we'll do what we can. Maybe we
No,
have a bad
Duran
night.
Duran put out a whole Halloween album last year that was pretty good.
Didn't know Duran Duran even put out music anymore, but
They
okay.
got back together to put out that Halloween album, in fact.
Wow.
It's called Dance Macabre, and it's
Yeah.
actually good. It's good. Sounds like classic Duran Duran. And Into the Black Moonlight. I think that the title, the first single, Black Moonlight, dude, good tune. Good danceable tune. Could have come out in 1990, honestly. Like, I'd look into that Dance Macabre album. It's pretty good stuff.
But Bass Girl 42, I tell you, you're an interesting character. Toxic Avenger. Have you seen Toxic Avenger? I mean, of course, it's more comedy, but classic film.
I have not seen the new Toxic Avenger. There's apparently a new one with Peter Dinklage that I avoided like the plague.
Oh,
but I did see the original again at like one of my college midnight movies when I was in film school.
I mean, it was completely ridiculous, but again, it's one of those films that I'm attracted to.
Right, exactly. Again, I haven't seen it since it came out, and I think there's a very good chance I was on drugs when I saw it. But I remember being entertained.
Kind of like Reefer Madness stuff.
Yes.
They didn't make any spoof. I don't think they made any spoof horror films back in the day. The original Invisible Man that was one of the Universal.
I think that was James Whale too, wasn't it? Isn't he first?
Yes, I think he was. Yeah. And the original Claude. I think Claude Rains' debut when he wasn't pictured until the end because he was the Invisible Man, and then his face comes into view. But yeah, interesting. That was an interesting one. He's talking. Bass Girl's talking old is. I'm not sure what she's talking about there. But okay, I guess that link's not going to work. So we're just going to have to wing it. I was hoping we could get some people in here, but I'm not sure why the link's not working. Since I started taking these video callers, it's worked pretty well. I don't know why the link's not working today. Maybe it's spooked from Halloween. So I'm surprised I'm not seeing anybody in there. Nobody's really disagreeing with it. At least nobody here is saying that we're evil for celebrating Halloween. Because again, that was my Facebook thing. Is like, come on, it's House on Haunted Hill. Yes, the original Chris Buchan. I like it. House on Haunted Hill was it was great with one of my favorites, Richard Long, and Vincent Price, of course, is in it.
Yep. Classic. And that movie's only like 75 minutes long, if I remember correctly, and it packs a lot of scares.
Yeah, it's just really good from the opening, like the narration as they're driving up to the driving up the various characters are driving up, and like I said, Richard Long who starred in a couple of the best Twilight Zone episodes that I liked, and was also in Nanny and the Professor and Big Valley, probably most known for that.
Oh, was he the professor in Nanny and the Professor?
Yep, he was the professor, and he was on Big Valley. He was one of the brothers, but he was in two of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes. Number 12 Looks Just Like You, where they're they're changed. Yeah, he was the male model, and then he was in Person or Persons Unknown, which again, Twilight Zone is kind of hard, but where they come up with the premise where the guy wakes up and in bed, and he said, "I almost had a hangover," and his wife starts screaming at him, "Who are you? Get out of here!" So he's lost his identity. So he goes to the bank. Nobody knows who he is, and so he can't prove his identity. He can't find his ID or anything. It's a really spooky concept.
Yes.
I thought it's like the original Blob from the 50s.
They made a whole TV show out of that. I don't know if you ever watched Nowhere Man back in 80s or 90s. Do you remember Nowhere Man?
No, I should have watched it, I guess. I like that concept.
Yeah.
Vincent Price, one of my favorite. And certainly the Wax Museum that he made, 51 was a good remake, but I like the original Wax Museum from the early 30s, which was one of the Lionel Atwill, which was one of the I think Fay Wray's in it.
And
one of the first color films. It's like that two color process, so everything looks either green or red, but it's still pretty cool. But it's kind of a spooky film, and
what's that guy's name? Lionel. What's his name?
Atwill.
Lionel. Yes, he's in your book. I mean, that guy was twisted. I remember that. Woo!
He was a real life artist because he was a sexual guy, I guess, sexual demon. He had lots of wild parties. And apparently some of them involve very young girls. There may have been rapes that occur. I have it in the book, but you know, his career,
With
you know,
satanic undertones. I just want to throw that in.
Yeah,
Orgies with satanic undertones. And that's
yeah,
from, it's not new in Hollywood. It was going on in the 30s with big movie stars like Lionel Atwell, although he got caught and disgraced and had to leave. But nobody talks about that anymore. Nobody talks about the underage pregnant girl he had at his Christmas party, right? Who got like gang banged in a train, and I'm not making that up. I got that from Don's book. Right?
Here's Chris Graves. All right.
So,
all right, Chris, let's add Chris. There he is. Chris Graves. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Hello, Chris Graves.
All right, I figured this program's right up your alley. What's going on?
This is totally up my alley. Yeah, I would have had my own Halloween special a while ago, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that. But yeah, no, I've been trying to get through for a while, and I was just wondering, with your guest, what is his thoughts on the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise?
Haven't seen them all. Was entertained by the ones that people told me were good, which was like the odd numbers ones, right? 1, 3, 5. I think those are the 3 I've seen. And
1, 3, and 7. Yeah, 1, 3, and 7.
1, 3, 7. Maybe I didn't see 7. Maybe I only saw 5.
Well, 7 was Wes Craven's New Nightmare, where it took place in real life. It kind of did the first meta thing.
Yeah. I did see that later on, like a streaming or cable channel or something. But ones I actually went to see in the theater, I think were 1, 3, and 5. And I think like what they were doing well was like what they did with the early Alien and Aliens movies too, where they weren't necessarily all like a straight up horror genre. They kind of like moved into sort of like action or thriller mystery. It wasn't straight up horror all the way through. So I thought that was a very and probably why it lasted 7 films. They kept it from being predictable. So not one of like my go-to franchises, but I think like it's a cut above. Yeah, I think they have better directors. I think they did a good job making up genres. That would be my take, but don't know it well enough to go too deep.
The only reason I bring that up is because Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger, he got his Walk of Fame on the Hollywood Walk of Fame like a few hours ago.
Oh, well, he made a lot of people a lot of money, so he deserves it.
New Line Cinema.
Yeah. There you go.
He did. I really haven't watched
Wes Craven. And Wes Craven, right? I mean, whew.
Yeah, Wes Craven, rest in peace. He passed away
a
few years ago of brain cancer, and he's actually buried on Martha's Vineyard.
Really?
I went to pay my respects a few years ago. Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right. So you're a serious fan then. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, he's a talented guy.
What are some of your other favorites, Chris? I mean, I know a lot, but I don't know what that maybe haven't mentioned. I don't know.
Well, you have John Carpenter, Halloween, which is actually kind of funny because John Carpenter just got his star on the Walk of Fame right before Mr. Englund a few weeks ago. So you got that. You have Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock with the late Tony Perkins. Tony, like I know him. Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates. And you also have Jaws, which some people might not consider a horror film. I do. And Steven Spielberg does. But a lot of stuff from like Wes Craven, like The Hills Have Eyes.
That's an intense film. Well, I don't need to see that again.
You don't. Yeah, no. In his first film, The Last House on the Left.
I don't even think I saw that to the end. Frankly, I don't think I watched.
But you know what? I don't blame you because his Mr. Craven in interviews, he talked about one of the reasons he made that film in 1972 was he wanted to have some kind of social commentary, kind of like what George Romero would do with like Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, kind of talking about like the social issues of the times in which the films were made. Mr. Craven was talking about how during the Vietnam War in 1971-72, when he was coming up with Last House on the Left, he was talking about how all the news footage coming back from Vietnam did not match like what Hollywood in terms of like maybe the old Westerns, when a cowboy would shoot somebody.
Yep.
He was talking about the real life implications and the gore and everything. And it wasn't so much, in his opinion, it wasn't so much to exploit the violence, but to show like reality on camera in a way that it never had been portrayed before, especially in Hollywood productions.
And that certainly would be the rationale that I would have suggested he make if I was his PR guy back then, from my years on Madison Avenue. And I would also say to you, Chris, that I'm sure there is some truth to that. But if you got a low budget and you want to make some money, what's the old thing? Make the hall. What is it? No, and I think was it Craven who said, it might have been Wes Craven who said that. You got to make the walls bleed. Was it he who said that?
I believe it was either Wes Craven or Toby Hooper who made it.
Might have been Toby. Okay,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre around the same time.
So on one hand, you know what? He was a gifted filmmaker, and willing to go halfway with you on that. Halfway. But the other half is like, he had to make a name for himself fast, and the best way to do it was with horrific stuff. And there's a long line of people who've done it, talented people. Peter Jackson is one,
And Peter Jackson, you brought it up earlier. Peter Jackson, he made his bones on movies like Brain Dead. I saw the comments earlier. And Peter Jackson actually wrote a script for Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6 that didn't end up getting made, but he wanted to make a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
But I would prefer, do we need that? Or I would have rather seen The Frighteners too, frankly.
Well, this was years before The Frighteners in 1994.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so he was making his bones with New Line Cinema, which was the house that Freddie built, or what it was known to be at the time. So Peter Jackson and people like Johnny Depp and Wes Craven and Sean Cunningham, all these people, they came up through New Line Cinema, which ended up getting absorbed by Warner Brothers years later, and Time Warner and all that. But yeah, it was a launching pad for a lot of artists, the Nightmare on Elm Street series. That's why I brought that up earlier, especially Mr. England, like having his Hollywood, Walk of Fame star.
Well, no, that's a good timely thing. You know what? And they did it the day before Halloween. That makes sense too. Okay, good.
No, they did it today on Halloween.
Oh, on Halloween. Fantastic.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I mean, he's made a lot of people a lot of money. He's made a lot of people a lot more money than a lot of other people on that walk, in fact. He's
exactly.
Robert Englund has printed money for people. So,
and he was also a great dramatic actor too. Like back in the 70s, he was in the movie Stay Hungry, which was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jeff Bridges. It was like a very early 5 Easy Pieces. The director Bob Rafelson, he directed that, and Robert went on to star as the friendly alien Willie in the TV series V for NBC.
No, but I did see him in some movie a couple months ago. I mean, from decades back, but I can't recall what it was. I mean, he was kind of a successful character actor before he became, I don't want to say typecast, but let's say signature role. Yeah. I mean, that's it. He's not transcending that signature role. He's not getting. There's nobody going to be bigger in his career than Freddy Krueger. That's it, dude. Exactly. There's your signature role. That's it. Boom.
And Don, that's why when you were talking about like Lon Chaney and Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, Robert Englund was the next generation of that in terms of monsters in cinema history. That's why.
But he's more of a singular type.
He's going to be known for Freddy Krueger. Yeah, that's he would be known for that character. But Lon Chaney, they had 1,000 Faces, a documentary about him from a while back the other day, and just look the way he could transform his look. And remember, he would have been great. He only made one talkie, which is a remake of The Unholy Three. It's not that great, but it's fascinating to watch because he also probably had 1,000 voices. He does, several voices in the films, and he was only 42. I mean, I've
And
no telling.
he created all the makeups, and they were very
Yeah,
painful.
yeah, yeah. He had
Yeah.
the look he had. I mean, it just he's just fascinating. He fascinates me. It's very, kind of a tragic tale, but
Yeah.
he I just so obsessed. But there's one movie I haven't mentioned. I think it's called Curse of the Demon, made
Yep.
1958 with Dana Andrews.
Yeah.
And it's very if you haven't seen it, Tom, you should.
I'm typing it down
It's
now.
it's critically acclaimed. I remember, and very eerie, because it's like kind of 50s film, 1958. It's nothing low class about it. Dana Andrews is the star and established star, and it's just there's a very evil foreboding. Something's going on there. But Chris has seen it. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no, that transcended cinema at the time as well. But the thing I wanted to ask you guys that I couldn't get on in time, George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Did I hear it right? You guys weren't fans of that movie from 1968?
I would say it is a 4-star film that I would never want to see again.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. All right.
Yeah, no,
I
I
mean-
I find it very depressing. It's
It is.
just over. I mean, there's no light,
The
nothing.
hero,
No,
the hero, Don, if you don't mind me mentioning this, the hero was the African American gentleman.
well,
at
I
the
guess
end of the
kind
movie.
of. I guess he was kind of, but yeah, but doesn't he
was a
die too? They
statement
all
of
died.
the
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a statement of the time that he would of
Oh, yeah,
course,
that was
he would be
different. Yeah.
sacrificed by the white guys or whoever to think
Yeah.
that he was a zombie, like
Yeah.
during
Right.
like the civil rights movement. And
Yeah.
for George Romero to have that as kind of like the exclamation point at the end, in my mind, was like pretty big. I mean, and yes, it's not supposed to be enjoyed. It's supposed to be a dire end of that world.
That's
Oh,
true.
he's
Yeah. I was going to say earlier, I would say, yes, the African American character is who we're supposed to be rooting for and the protagonist.
Yeah.
But it's just that the film itself is
Yeah.
so dark and despairing that it's really difficult even to ride along with him because you
Right.
have this foreboding sense of his doom anyway, So like that movie's a pretty dire turn all the way through. I far prefer Dawn of the Dead in the mall. I just
Me
like,
too.
I mean, like that's kind of the zombie movie I want. Like, it's not exactly fun, but there's like a sense of thrill and adventure to it where like you don't necessarily sense that these people are doomed from the get-go, like you do in Night of the Living Dead, So yeah, I like, I never need to see Dead Ringers. I don't know if you're familiar with that film with Jeremy Irons.
I was going to bring that up in the chat. Yeah,
that is another, like, I will defend that film as a 4-star movie all day long. And David Cronenberg is a genius. And Jeremy Irons' best performance, even better than the movie he won the Oscar for. But I never want to see that movie again. Never.
But to be fair, like a lot of Cronenberg movies, I can't watch again, like with the body horror stuff, like Shivers and The Fly and everything.
Or another great 4-star Cronenberg horrific film. What Existenz.
Oh yeah.
That movie was like The Matrix before. That movie was mind-blowing, unbelievable. Yeah. I walked out of that, I was like, that is a work of genius. I never want to see that movie again. I really like, oh my God.
He also made a movie in 1996 called Crash, and not the one that people will know.
I know.
Like with Brendan Fraser and everything.
I know that one.
Crash was about people basically, for lack of a better term, people getting off on being in car crashes.
Yeah,
a
car crash fetish. You can do it really quick. They have a car crash fetish. All right. Yeah. I didn't like that movie. I didn't
either.
Any of those, like, even like at least in Existenz and Dead Ringers, like I was cared about those characters, which was why it's like so where like in Crash, I was like, I don't even care. Like these people, like I can't.
Like Holly Hunter and people like that, like and James Spader, they're getting off on going and being hurt.
Right.
slashes.
Right. But even like their normal lives that they're trying to hide, like whatever. So the same one too with like the William Burroughs adaptation, right? Naked Lunch. Everybody
Naked
says it's
Lunch.
a great movie.
Oh,
I didn't like that
yeah,
movie either.
I
I
didn't
didn't care about the character. So Cronenberg has made some great films, but he's made some big clunkers too, as far as I'm
He has, yeah.
But like Eastern Promises, terrific film.
The History of Violence.
History of Violence,
That
great
was a
film.
sequel, right? Was Eastern Promises a sequel to
Nah,
History of Violence? Kind
No,
of
but very similar with the casting and sort of the tonality. But no,
Viggo Mortensen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, Cronenberg has made a lot of great films, but I mean, I haven't seen any of his recent stuff because it just all sounds so horrific.
Well, I go back to Videodrome and Scanners, and some of that stuff people might not like either. But
Sorry, Don, are we hijacking your thing? I'm feeling bad.
That's no. You guys,
sorry.
it's fascinating. You guys know. I mean, I obviously I'm into more. No, that's more. I like some of the more modern films too, but I'm not into. And I know Chris likes a lot of the slasher films and stuff, and most people do.
no,
here,
but Don, I like the
I-
Universal stuff too, like you were mentioning.
Yeah.
Like
I
for Dracula, Frankenstein, and everything.
yeah,
too.
I like the suspenseful stuff, and I think that too much blood is you don't show too much, and that's what Hitchcock knew until. But if you see Hitchcock's The Birds, which I love. I think it's a especially scary film on a strange subject, but that's the first time he showed a lot of gore. He decided he could. I was
he went
disappointed
overboard on his last
Yes.
movie. Remember Frenzy from
Frenzy,
1975?
Frenzy, yeah, that was ridiculous. I mean, I was disappointed.
Frenzy is his next to last movie. It's his penultimate film.
Oh,
What
that's
was
right.
his last one?
What's the last one? Is
Family Plot. His last.
Oh,
yeah, it's
right.
not that good.
I know my Hitchcock. I took a Hitchcock class in college.
Yeah.
No, I believe you. I'm just that
That's right,
always
yeah.
been cited as being his final film.
Family Plot is
Frenzy,
such
he
a better
discovered
note to
nudity
go out
and-
on than Frenzy. Family
Right.
Plot
Yeah.
is a much nicer movie to end your career on than Frenzy,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Right.
Family
Yeah.
Plot, not a great movie, but a highly entertaining movie with a great cast.
Right.
I think the Birds was his last great film, probably. But it's a lot of people don't like that. I just find it was fascinating subject. Although if you read The Birds, was a kind of a novelette by Daphne du Maurier.
I have read it.
It's I think that the story was better than the film. Really well done. It's like Planet of the Apes. If you read Planet of the Apes, it's kind of the novel by Pierre Boulez. Much better than the film, even though the film is great. I thought it's a little different.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I read both those when I was either in high school or college. I haven't read them in decades. That short story. The thing is, Alfred Hitchcock used to put out books for like teens, like with the short stories and stuff.
Haunted House,
Yes.
Haunted House full.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But also,
Monster
like, I remember
of-
one that had the birds in it, but it also had this short story by Robert Bloch that I cannot believe
Yes, Robert
has
Bloch.
never been made into a movie
Yeah,
called
Robert
Yours
Bloch is
Truly, Jack the Ripper.
Yes,
How
yes.
Yours
Really?
Truly, Jack the
I had all
Ripper
those
has
books, yeah.
not been made into a film blows my mind because like everybody knows Robert Bloch from Psycho
Psycho.
and
Bloch.
City on the Edge of Forever.
Henry
He's
Star
well
was
known
another
for
one.
that. Why?
I have-
Why is no one optioning Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper? Please,
I-
some independent guy, like
Well,
like-
Tom, what's like a 2-sentence like synopsis of like what is it about? I've never heard this before, and I thought I knew everything.
serial killer pops back up in London, killing young women who are prostitutes, except now it's the 1960s, I guess. He starts writing letters again, just like before.
Yeah.
And the story is told from, I don't know if it's a cop, it's a first person tale, and it's either a cop or an investigative reporter. I can't remember. And like just it just gets darker and weirder. It just wow. Yeah.
I haven't even heard of that. So I feel ashamed.
Should I give away the big spoiler? I mean, no. I mean, should I give away the big spoiler?
It's up to you. Sure. I don't how many people are going to watch it. Sure.
Right. The guy who's writing it is the Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
guy.
Now I remember.
And that's how he signs it at the end. Yours truly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
big twist. He's investigating. He's the investigator. He's the investigator. You find out at the end. He's like,
him.
it's him. And then the reason you're finding out is because he turns and stabs to death his partner.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he's freaking, oh my God, no. His partner realizes it, and we realize it at the same time. He's like, oh, that's the last line of the thing. No, stop calling me Steve. My name's Jack. That's the way it ends.
Okay.
that
Yeah,
should be an option.
Yeah,
I
dude.
know.
I mean, yeah, it's a great story because yeah.
Well, there's so many. There's so many hits. I have because I was fascinated with Hitchcock. I read all the Three Investigators books. You remember
Love
Three
those books.
Investigators? Yeah, I love the books.
Why
I have some.
nobody bought that? Why has nobody bought that? What is
Uh,
turn one of them into a girl now? Go ahead. I don't care.
Well, I'm sure there wouldn't be three white boys.
No, there wouldn't be three white boys. That's fine. Make one of them a black girl. I don't care.
Yeah,
They're great
yeah.
stories. You'd be printing money and you could shoot them for nothing. I
Yeah,
don't understand.
No,
Hollywood
that was-
is so stupid.
And-
You're
and
so
he-
stupid.
Hitchcock was a franchise in himself because he had the books you're talking about, Monster Mansion, Haunted House Full. So I had them all as a kid. I loved them, but they were for kids. Well, they were challenging enough. But and then he had all these adult books, and I had tons of them. Alfred Spellbinders in Suspense, A Hangman's Dozen, all the Murderer's Row, and he had those kind of titles. And he would have a little introduction by himself, and then there'd be stories by Henry Slesar wrote a lot of them. Slesar, who I thought was really good, and Robert Bloch and people like that. And what's the guy's name? Robert Arthur. There was another, but some of them were made into episodes of his TV series, Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Mhm.
But
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. Do you know, was there ever like a planned team up with Rod Serling and Alfred Hitchcock at any point?
Never heard of it. No, never heard of that.
Okay. All right.
That would have been cool. Well, and then once Rod Serling, the Twilight Zone was way more.
Well, Night Gallery would be more
Night Gallery was more horror.
right.
When he came, I think it was more kind of a horror thing. I don't think it was as good. That potential,
Right.
but I liked it as a kid, but I don't think it holds up as well. But who
But
knows
I
where
always
Rod-
wondered if they ever met. Like, I never could get down to like finding out whether
I
the
don't
two of them
know.
ever crossed paths.
My
Hard to
impression
imagine.
of Rod Serling is he was a guy who preferred being the smartest guy in the room
Well-
at all times.
Mhm.
And being in a room with Alfred Hitchcock was probably not like his, cup of tea.
Not a good pair.
Because
Yeah.
there probably weren't a lot of people in the Hollywood circles who could be in a room with Rod Serling and be able to say that they were smarter than him. So, Rod Serling could afford to avoid those people.
Plus, their shows, Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Twilight Zone. At one point, Alfred Hitchcock Presents lasted longer, but for the I think Twilight Zone, I think was 5 seasons, maybe 5 seasons, I think.
Yeah.
So those 5 seasons, Alfred Hitchcock Presents was on too. So they were kind of competitors up against each other, the same genre. So maybe I don't know, maybe Rod Serling felt a little intimidated by Hitchcock because Hitchcock's incredible career with film. Although again, Alfred Hitchcock got away with a lot of great stuff he had nothing to do with. Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I think he directed about 4 or 5 of those episodes in 10 seasons.
Yeah, he did.
And all the rest were so. He came on it and became a TV star because he had this great presence with this great
host
thing, and he just sit there and they were very funny. And I don't know if he wrote them or who wrote them, but they were very good. They hold up really well. The show holds up well, but so does the Twilight Zone. So
Just imagine a collaboration between those two. Seriously,
They never even met, according to AI. The two men never even met, according to AI.
Well,
There are no
Serling would have
public
probably had the
photos.
question.
They never
Yeah.
met or worked together on a project.
That's interesting. Yeah, well, that would have
Yeah.
been.
Serling wasn't like Serling was involved with film. Like he wrote Planet of the Apes, I believe. So it's not like it was a TV movie thing. Like they could have collaborated.
He also wrote
Well, but
12 Angry Men. Right?
Well,
I think.
yes.
I mean, that was really what put him on the map.
Yes.
Which
So-
is like the least Twilight Zone-y kind of thing, if you really think
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
Which shows he should do other things.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Serling wrote a lot of television screenplays, and he wrote more for TV than film. And
Well, I
I'm
have
sure he
to
looked.
This is actually just an interesting thing because actually, believe it or not, this painting by Don Peters. Don Peters is the guy who did the art direction on Planet of the Apes. The Rod Serling written film.
Wrote it.
And Peters and Serling had an ongoing conflict over years because Peters always claimed that Serling ripped off most of the ideas for that screenplay from not only Don Peters, but like a ton of other people who did all the art direction for it. Like like Serling had sort of a skeleton of the Pierre Boulle or whatever you pronounce the novel, but like all the really cool ideas were come up with by Don Peters, like the Statue of Liberty in the sand. That was Don Peters. Before they even started making the movie, they went to the art director and they were like, draw up all these scenarios of what you think an ape planet might look like. And so that was, one of the big ones. So Serling, I guess he did write the script, but that was a very, very collaborative process. And it was based on somebody else's novel in the first place. Yeah. I'm not knocking Rod Serling as a great TV writer or as 12 Angry Men, which was a film.
I didn't realize. I thought he wrote an early version of the script. Really had to look. Somebody looked that up. I don't know that he got credit for writing the Planet of the Apes. Maybe he did, but I thought.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
I thought, I can't look at it now, but I think, as I remember, I think he did one of the early versions or something. Maybe he contributed to it.
To be fair, with a lot of Hollywood, even to this day, I mean, before AI or whatever, a lot of screenplays are, kind of like by committee. You know, there's like a lot of, like with the Screen Actors, the Screenwriters Guild or whatever, like they will assign an official author after like investigating everything, like all the different drafts and people, the other hired hands and everything. And there could be like 20 different people that worked on the overall project, but one or two people might be credited at the end of the day, like through the guild or whatever.
Well, I mean, I'm looking on here.
Ron Helton says Sterling, Wilson, and Schaffner wrote. Okay, so I guess he is credited.
Michael Wilson, Rod Serling are credited according to Wikipedia.
Okay,
but that doesn't mean that like I said, like maybe 10 other people would have worked on it as well, but didn't get credit at the end.
Actually, I only need to go to the second paragraph of Wikipedia. The outline for the Planet of the Apes script was originally written by Serling, then underwent many rewrites before filming eventually. So that's what this guy behind me said, basically.
Right.
He had a rough outline of the Pierre Boulle novel or whatever, and then he handed it over to the art director who came up with a bunch of like catchy ideas, and the rest is literally history. Anyway,
so that's one of those classic stories. But
he was also the art director for Star Trek: The Motion Picture, in my opinion, the best of the Star Trek movies.
Going back to the original King Kong, and for Chris Buchan and other people here who may be interested, Adolf Hitler's favorite film, the original King Kong.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
And I would just imagine being able to sit in the same room with Adolf Hitler, waving his hand, going crazy, watching King Kong. It's so entertaining. Because I don't know what he liked. I mean, I know why I liked it so much. I'm not sure what he saw in it, but I would love to. That's one of my dreams, to be able to watch King Kong with Hitler. And
the ape dies. The ape dies. Hitler loved it when the ape died at the end.
Well, the racial subtext there.
Hitler was in love with a lot of the Aryan women in Hollywood. Obviously, he liked what was her name? Anita Tate, I think it was. So he probably liked Faye Ring a lot too.
Yeah, and he hated the Three Stooges. He wanted to put hits out on them. Let's put that out.
Oh, they were pretty rough on him. Mo did a nice mean imitation of Hitler. He really did. So that. Hitler, you can watch King Kong with us, but first you have to watch a Three Stooges story.
Now, guys, that is a movie right there for Netflix. Like to watch a print of King Kong with Adolf Hitler and what happened around the.
Wait, no, I want to take it. I want to go a step beyond that, like a modern mystery science theater, except you're watching the movie with Hitler every week.
Hitler.
Yeah.
Mystery Science Theater 3000, but with
with Hitler.
Yes, sir.
Well, just keep in mind, Hitler obviously was no fan of Hollywood because he was
Yeah.
trying to get all the Jews in the film industry in Germany out of there. So he knew, the Jews were influential in our Hollywood. So, but King Kong was a very non-Jewish production. You had, I'm just forgetting names. Terrible. It's getting terrible. But the guys that directed King Kong, they were known for their true animal adventures, and they were very daring and everything. They go film. You've seen that thing where the tiger's climbing up the tree. And one of those guys filmed that. He's up in the tree, and you talk about having balls, so they were, this was kind of a natural for them. And so that was a very, and I think they both fought in World War I and had
Cooper and Shostak. Yes. Marion Cooper and Ernest.
Marion Cooper. Yeah, I can't, but Marion C. Cooper, Robert Armstrong's character, the guys that's one of the problems I had with Peter Jackson's film is the casting. But
yes, that is the problem with that film.
Yeah, with Jack Black and Adrian
Naomi Watts.
Yeah. No, Naomi Watts nails it.
I like Naomi Watts.
Love her in King Kong.
Well, I'm just saying she was in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't get that impression. I like in some movies you can tell when the director is in love, like with his star. Because she's luminous. She's absolutely luminous.
Oh, couldn't blame him.
And Peter Jackson and Naomi Watts in King Kong, that is one of them. I mean, she glows. David Lynch in a couple of his films. Like you can just tell he just loves this woman.
With Sherilyn Finn. That's who you're talking
with
about?
Sherilyn Finn. But no, Lynch does it. That's one. But I mean, he does it with who played Donna in Twin Peaks. She's luminous in that the first season. Patricia
Arquette with Nick Cage and
I see that one didn't do it for me, but I know it does it for some.
No, but
I'm more in Blue Velvet. Who plays the good girl in Blue Velvet? That scene where she's giving that soliloquy in front of the church and she's just like beaming.
Laura Dern.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, you can just tell when a director truly loves a woman like that. You can literally see it. She glows. She glows. And Naomi Watts in King Kong, she's got it. The guys are miscast, but they crushed it with her.
Yeah,
crushed it with her.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's funny. Well, we thought we almost out of time. We've covered. I don't know if we missed anything. And we talked about a lot of movies. Did we miss anything, guys? Anything else you want to mention?
I mean, I think The Wailing. I think everybody needs to see The Wailing. It's the greatest horror film of the 21st century, in my opinion. And the recent Eggers Nosferatu is way up there too. But that is an adaptation. The Wailing is like a brand new story and just so gripping. But Nosferatu is one of the most cinematic experiences I've had in movie going, since COVID.
Check out the movie of Gods and Monsters, which was about James Whale. That's what I was trying to get through.
Yes,
it's about the filmmaker that made Bride of Frankenstein. It had Brendan Fraser and Ian McKellen, I believe, was in it too.
Yep.
Yes, he played him. Yep.
Yeah, but check out. People are gonna think I'm joking around, but if you want to see a goofy horror movie that actually plays it up, from 1984, and I mentioned it before, Chud. Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers, which kind of parodies the atomic movies of the 50s with the radiation and stuff. Okay, they actually do a pretty good tongue-in-cheek. And
I saw it and liked it. I mean, decades into, I haven't seen it since the year
it's goofy as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I was what's that Worms movie? Tremors. It's not Tremors. It's not like Tremors, but it's kind of like Tremors.
But it's about things underground. Yeah.
Well, and it's also horror suspense, but a little funny.
Yes.
Chris Buchan agrees with you. Chud is a classic, he says.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there. Cool. He says one of his favorite pieces on my side. How about that? So you've come around to agree on something. We're just about out of time. I'm trying to see.
Well, I found that I made it through without coughing my lungs out, so that was good.
Oh, you definitely did. So
Chris, real quick before we get to Tom, anything you need to promote or anything else? Anything you want?
The only thing I'll promote, the only thing I can promote, because I don't no longer have podcasts or anything, and I just a civilian or whatever you want to call me, a jerk, whatever. Just check out a movie from 1975 called Race with the Devil, which is about a group of Satan worshipers that are chasing Peter Fonda through the desert in an RV.
Great
And
flick.
you'll be scared. I'm telling you.
I think I've seen that. Yeah, that's
It's
An
crazy.
action horror movie, car chase horror movie.
Exactly. Through the desert.
That's a good movie. I
Great
mean, or an
suggestion.
entertaining movie. Very entertaining.
Chris,
movie.
Chris showing his expertise in more than conspiracies and stuff. They're great. They're very knowledgeable in films. Tom Siebert, it's great having you on the show. Give out your links
you.
or anything you want to promote or anything.
We'll put it in the thing down there. Maybe some links to some entertainments as well. Wrinkle and Tom on Substack. That's it. You know, you can find me. Don Jeffries is the better man.
Oh, I appreciate you being here. Kenny Power says Chris Graves is the man. Great to see you back on the show, Tom. Always a great guest. Tom, you are great. It's and it's great because all three of us have this kind of different types of interests where we can talk about the entertainment stuff. So we didn't really talk about the conspiracies. I'm sorry, Chris and others out there. We're really very light on the Jew talk tonight. Although lots of Jews in Hollywood, we didn't really into it really, but we really do. But
It's not
different
the
kind
Jews,
of.
it's the Zionists. It's not the Jews, it's the Zionists.
That's right. That's right. We didn't talk about Hitler. I mean,
Is Dr. Frankenstein a Zionist? I was always wondering that.
I think since CERN, it's like it's Frankenstein, isn't it? I thought it was Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, according to Brooks, yeah, Frankenstein. That's right.
Frankenstein now.
Young Frankenstein. But it is what it is. But I think, obviously a good classic spoof of it. But anyhow, so this went too fast. I knew it would be fun. I appreciate everybody out there. Have those of you that still have kids that trick or treat and don't trick or trunk. Or something disco like that. That's what I would have called it back in the day. I would have called that disco. But hopefully you get lots of good candy. So let's stop, have fun. It's a harmless holiday. You don't have to worship Satan to enjoy Hollywood, right? To enjoy Halloween. Hollywood. Thanks, Chris Graves. Thanks, Tom Siebert. Tom Siebert's got his mask back on. See you next week. Happy Halloween. Take care.